stop me. The road is closed because of snow. And there's more falling. There's no better. Just feel complete beaten.
Paragliding is a passion, and you ask any paraglider pilot about paragliding and they're obsessed, and you throw in the vol-biv angle and it becomes a great obsession, and then you throw in my desire to explore and have adventure, and you start looking for something that actually brings it all together. And I think we all look for something which is bigger than ourselves, and something which we want to strive to achieve.
My first ever vol-biv was last year in Nepal. I went for a 4-day, 3-night excursion from the main paragliding centre of Pokhara. And when I came back, I thought, I want to do more of that. I need to do more of that. And I started looking at the A to B aspect, thinking, where could I start and where can I finish? And no one had really flown in the Nepali Himalayas completely solo and unsupported before.
Nepal is a small country, as you know. It's the size of England and Wales. Not very big. But if you flatten it, it suddenly covers the surface area equivalent to the US. So you've got a massive amount of topography to play with. So it's in a small space. So it's a paragliding paradise.
My plan is to get up high in the Western Nepal Himalayas. Fly high, land high, camp high. Then take off the next day, do it again and see how far I can get.
If I make it to Pokhara, which is about 350 kilometres, that'll be amazing. I'll be really happy with that. If I do it in a week, 10 days, 3 weeks, it'll be amazing. Is it achievable? Possibly.
And being that high in the mountains, that far from everyone and everything, feels like a total contrast to my everyday life. To fly over the Himalayas like a vulture, to camp in total solitude, I know it's risky. Things could go wrong and rescue won't be easy somewhere that remote. But I'm not crazy. It's not that I don't care about my wife and my kids. I do. I just need to get away. Some might call it midlife crisis, but I think it's more of a midlife reset.
I think our lives at the moment are very much driven by the connectivity that we have to have with everything, and with work, and the continual need to be connected is something which I found a relief to be away from last time. Because I've been banging on about this adventure for a year, I think my dear wife is very accepting of the need for me to do it. I'm leaving with no strife. It's very much with the support of my immediate family. My parents are super concerned, and it kind of rubs off a bit actually when they're so concerned. Maybe I should be more concerned, but because my family are around me all the time with my paragliding, they accept what I'm doing as part of what I love, and I go with their enthusiasm, which is I'm lucky to have that. Actually, I'm lucky to have my family behind me.
It doesn't matter how often or how prepared you are, but saying goodbye, or be seeing you, as my dear wife likes to say, is enough to make you want to cry and turn back from this step into the unknown. I think at the back of my mind I have a deep fear of not returning, which makes me question this madness of an adventure.
Okay, got to Devil Jura after a long, arduous journey. Now trying to decide whether to push on as originally planned to Batalia and to the takeoff beyond that. Just trying to suss out the weather with the help of people back home, and long day, 12 hours travelling, and yeah, just could do with some home comfort tonight. What the hell am I doing here, really? Middle of nowhere.
You can see a lot of these lovely films that with the pilot flying on the magical terrain high up, and you get these wonderful helicopter shots and everything. And that looks great, but the pilot is with a film crew. They're with a film crew, with a helicopter, so it all looks great, but they've got company.
Yeah, solo. Why am I doing this solo? I don't think anyone else was going to come with me.
On the bus ride to Darchula, I saw a perfect mountain ridge from which I could start my journey. I jumped off the bus at the next opportunity near the village of Dagmara. Grabbing some water from a small roadside stall, look at those mountains, I started the final trek up the mountain, across the paddy fields and up for the tree line. It was nearly midday by the time I reached a place I could take off from. I needed to get going. It was an amazing day and I needed to make the most of it. Okay, now got perfect conditions and just hoping I can launch from here because today looks totally epic. My aim is to run down this ridge behind me. The wind is actually coming over the back, but there's the occasional thermal coming up the front. Just hope the thermals keep coming.
So the way we do distance is we have to climb up and then glide, climb up and then glide, and that's how we fly distance, and that's what it's all about for us. And so in order to thermal up, what we do is the glider will fly into a column of rising air. So the glider will pitch back and then just dive forwards. As it dives forwards, we use that dive to gently bank and form a lovely cadence 360. So just like birds of prey and eagles and vultures, we just circle and 360 in that column of rising air until we get to cloud base. Once we get to cloud base, we're as high as we can go, and that's what we do. We just do circles and straight lines all day long.
Fucked. Fuck it. Got the fucking tray. Okay, definition of frustrating. Perfect spot, just no clearing, and all day long there's been no wind. So it's been an absolute nightmare trying to take off. I've just about given up now after 3 hours of trying to take off, trying to find spaces. It looks like there's spaces everywhere, but whenever you get there, it's just bushes, these little snaggy bushes. And when there's no wind, you can't get the wing up. So yeah, really frustrating. So I'm going to walk up there tonight, camp up and take off tomorrow. But just look at that. That's what I was hoping to fly today. I was kind of hoping this path would lead me somewhere, but it doesn't really go anywhere apart from to a dead end cliff. So let's try back somewhere else now. This is so frustrating because what I don't want to do is lose tomorrow as well. I've got to get flying tomorrow. I've literally been on this hill all day, from about 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock trying to take off, or trying to find someone to take off. So I had a hard decision to make tonight whether to sort of bail out of here and go and find another ridge, but in a way that's kind of pointless to the whole thing of vol-biv.
And the thing about vol-biv is you've got to be independent. You've got to carry all your own kit. So tent, food, safety equipment, instruments, cameras if you're filming it. That's a lot of kit.
Food selection tonight is based on weight. The heaviest one gets eaten first. I'm sick of carrying it around already.
If they're flying for 4 days, you've got to have 4 days supply of food sometimes. And that's a lot of food, so it's a lot of dry food. You've got to make sure you've got water. things like that. So yeah, a lot of planning. Vol-biv sounds beautiful, but it's very tricky.
I have reflected today on how I manage not to be all consumed by the fear of risk when I take off. Subconsciously, I put the point of fear at the point of takeoff. Without this distraction of headspace beforehand, I'm able to stay in the moment, enjoy the adventure and focus on preparing for launch. The feel of the glider above my head and my muscle memory provide the confidence to smash through this fear bubble as I run off the mountain into my next flight. This ridge is just so soarable and such a good route forward that I think I just have to sort of try and persevere, set up and just go for it. Yeah, it's a committed launch today, I think. Why am I looking so worried? I don't know.
So paragliding is a dangerous activity. It's a risk activity. There's no two ways about it. In all my time saying, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you're an expert, you know, the risks are the same, you know, and people say, oh, it's beginners who injure themselves more. No, not in my experience. It's a dangerous game we play. You know, we've decided before you even leave the house and go to the hill that you're willing to take those risks on. Okay, and there's no two ways about it. So when you're going to Nepal and you're doing a vol-biv, you're just increasing that risk more, and it's something you have to come to terms with. You know, and I don't think anyone can say, oh, I'm going to mitigate this, I'm going to mitigate that. You know, accidents can happen, and the consequences aren't always very pretty. So if you're willing to accept that, and your loved ones are willing to accept it, great, game on.
And it's incredible how potentially dangerous it can be. Just getting a takeoff wrong or getting a landing wrong, because you know it's the ground that hurts. The flying bit's quite all right, and quite often you have to give yourself this little grr of confidence and go just before you launch, because a lot of people start launching and are looking for troubles to sort. They're already going to crash, so you have to have this little right, go, final check, 360, all good, go.
Quite relaxing now, but it wasn't a minute ago.
As I climbed higher and higher in the thermals, I was joined by half a dozen vultures. These new feathered friends had clearly never flown with paragliders before. So many times they nearly flew into me and I had to shout to grab their attention. As the thermal topped out, stretched out before me, I could see India to the west, the Api Mountains, the Seti Mountains, and I'm just looking at a distance of the mountains to the east. I thought to myself, this is actually happening. I turned the glider to start my journey across the Himalayas. I decided let's be safe at the end of my first flight and landed at the valley bottom. And there was the first welcome committee which I was to experience for the rest of my journey.
If you're doing a vol-biv trip, there's two ways you can do it. You can either say, I'm going to be staying by myself in a little tent. Or you can say, you know what, I'm just going to take a change of underwear and a toothbrush, and I'm going to land down at the bottom of the valleys in the villages, and I'm going to stay in somebody's house each day. You know, the Nepalese are incredibly friendly and generous, and will open their doors and houses to anybody, particularly people who fall out the sky.
At Dan's place now, just about to get some food. This is the young guy who's given me a guide up. So all being well, we'll find somewhere in good time to take off from. So yeah, I remain hopeful for a flight across the Karnali River. Yeah. Question is, what am I going to get to eat? Not more Dal Bart, I hope.
It is so real, so relevant. You know that you're flying through a living museum. You know, this is how people have lived for hundreds of years. They're subsistence farmers.
Smoke-filled room. Our breakfast. Today, I hope the weather gods will be favourable for my crossing of the Karnali River Valley. It's proving to be a real barrier. I've been high on its western side for 2 days now. But today, the weather is looking promising.
This is temple is Durga. Yeah. This is temple is Durga. Yes.
So obviously, flying across Nepal, you see some pretty epic scenery. Not only big mountains, but the big valleys in between. And one of the biggest valleys in the world is the Karnali River, and it is the last free-flowing river in Nepal. Unfortunately, it's going to be dammed soon with an Indian-based project. Lots of different affected parties, none more so than the displaced villages that are going to be flooded.
Sorry to have your game.
Okay, I feel quite emotional about this one. I've had a hell of a flight today. I was at 2000. No, I wasn't. And this is how shook up I am. Anyway, I was at 14,200 feet, which equates to about 4,900 meters today. It was cold. It was a roller coaster. I had some massive climbs, 8 to 9 meters a second up, a couple of small collapses. It was a full-on flight, and actually, interestingly, I thought I was going to go down initially. so I decided to land here because I can take off in the morning.
After my experience last year, I'm happy I'm not cold on this adventure. Thankful for my sponsor's support with sleeping gear and technical clothing. Also, my evenings are not boring. I have a lot to organise with planning and preparation before the next morning. But water is still an issue.
So when you're vol-biving, you know, you need some food, which you can carry dry food with you, but you need water. Obviously, we need to drink. Top landing on all these ridges, water's not so easy to come by. So it's a bit of a balance, isn't it? Do I fly down? Do I land at the bottom of the valley where there's plenty of water sources or villages that are, no village will ever not have a water source, but then have to slep up in the morning, or do I top land, you know, above the tree line and hope I can find a spring, some kind of water source? You're flying along your last thermal of the day. You've got to make that decision: fly down to the bottom, guaranteed water, or top land with less than 50-50 chance of getting water up there, because carrying 23 kilos back up the mountain the following morning is not a great way to start the day.
There's been a dramatic deterioration in the weather, with a change to unstable air. My plan to fly high above the snow line is now well and truly dead. There's a lot more cloud and at a lot lower altitude. Because of this, I now can't see how I can fly over anything higher than 3,000 metres. I'm going to have to figure out a route for the foothills and the maze of valleys.
Okay, so just a quick update because it's 11:15 and the day is overdeveloping already. The issue I've got is there's a mountain there. You probably can't see it. It's 4,200 metres. I've got a reasonable height here. You can sort of see vultures are sort of making the most of it. Look at this guy here. Hey mate. That's so beautiful. It's clearly working here. So I'm going to have to try and get some height here and run that ridge down there. That ridge has started popping off a few clouds, and then somehow I've got to get across that valley. There's no way I'm going over the top of the mountain today.
There is one main mountain chain, but it's 8,000 meters, and it takes an exceptional amount of luck to be able to fly in those big mountains. Flying in the foothills, very convoluted, very involved flying. If you've said I'm going to fly and commit, my line is going to be in the foothills of Nepal, then you've got to accept that you're going to be contouring an awful lot. You're going to be flying the terrain, which can be fun, but it also be very draining. Psychologically, to be flying in big air close to the terrain the whole time. 1,000 meters above them is a luxury, but that doesn't often happen.
In the air, there are moments that, although I'm not scared, I recognise I'm committed to flying my paraglider to the best of my abilities. Not helped by the fact that my route for the foothills means I often find myself on the lee side of a mountain.
And lee side as well is a dangerous thing. So you'll have wind coming up one side and rotor on the other, and that's potentially very dangerous because the air is rotating around, and if your glider is in air that's doing that as you're going into it, you'll have collapses and all sorts. So you don't want to be lee side.
And there have been several times that the glider took quite a lot of controlling.
Okay. I know I shouldn't be in here.
Don't go lee side. Lee side's bad.
It's the size of the landscape which is phenomenal. Finding myself flying over a cliff which is over 500 metres tall, with a thumping thermal, I just know I have to ride it out, as there's just not a plan B at this point, which is something I like to have available to me most of the time.
We've all been there in Nepal. We haven't had the prettiest landings. We've all gone around a corner and gone, oh shit, I made a mistake. All right. Rather than harp on that mistake, got to think, well, what am I going to do? If I don't get this lift, then I certainly don't want to land in that river. What am I going to do?
Is something working? Otherwise, we might be fucked.
I managed my fear by counting 4 deep breaths over 4 seconds. I also, to my surprise, find myself talking out loud.
Come on, work, Hill.
Plus talking to the vultures.
Where are we going, mate? Show me the way!
Just trying to reassure myself that a tricky situation is fine.
I know one thing for sure. I'm walking again. Hey, bird, what are you doing? Hello! Namaste! Don't be distracted by the children. I'll land this thing. Namaste.
Huh?
Namaste. Okay. Okay. Oh.
नेपाली बोल्न जान्नु हो
English.
English?
English. Yeah.
English बोल्न
Namaste.
नमस्कार इधर यो
Oh yeah.
रास्ता
Your house.
The most amazing thing is that actually most people in Western Nepal have never seen a Westerner. So the fact they've never seen a Westerner and never seen a paraglider is phenomenal for them. I end up with a whole village, 200-300 villagers running out to greet me and becoming the celebrity of the event. And this just seems to roll into the hospitality I get with garlands, my forehead marked with a talaka. I've even had money put behind my ear. This is proving to be the most special part of my journey across Nepal.
So when you come in and you land in these villages and you see how they live, it's a real eye opener because it's as far removed from our society as you can get.
It isn't unusual to be asked for my documents by the police when I land. Very often, with the help of a school teacher as a translator, it's a simple affair. But not today. Today was different.
This has all got a bit intense, really. Police are here, hopefully just escorting me back to civilization. All out of my comfort zone, really, must be said. Documents are checked. Top tip: make sure you bring your paragliding license from the UK next time. Not leave it in Pokhara, but we'll see.
About 60% of the population speak Nepali, and then there's the school teachers that will speak English to you. One thing that does unify and bond all these villages together are the schools. Very much a focal point of all these Nepali villages is the schools and the kids, and their little blue uniforms, and they're very proud of wearing their uniforms, and you see them trotting around school.
Okay, so in here, I have my paraglider, I have a tent, I have food, I have a stove, I have my clothes, I have pane, I have everything.
पानी सबै
I
छ
can
भने
survive.
फुड पानी टेन्ट सबै छ भने के टेन्ट पनि अब बुझ्यो एक्लै बस्दा बास उडायो भने if it is possible please fly on the sky.
I can't.
That is the questions of the student.
Yeah, today the clouds are low and I will just go straight down. Yeah.
After spending time with the children at Dharma School today and enjoying another evening of local village hospitality, I've come to appreciate that my journey for the remote Himalayan foothills is a rich reward of culture and understanding that I would have missed if my route had been as planned higher in the mountains.
And that's the beauty of paragliding across Nepal, is it takes you to places that you simply wouldn't get to otherwise.
So, on a positive note, I'm actually in a hotel and it's raining, so I'm not suffering the rain in my tent. On a negative note, I've got the shits, it's raining, I haven't covered the distance I wanted to cover by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm running out of local currency, which is ridiculous.
So the plan tomorrow is to try and get down the road by about 4 or 5k, go across the bridge to the other side of the river, and then walk in about 6k to a location which I'm hoping will be launchable. We've got our local leaguer just organising a porter to help me up the hill. My excuses are actually not very well, so it's a good shout to get someone to carry the bag. So after a bit of negotiation, we're going for an hourly rate. I'm going to walk up that mountain there. Doesn't look really high enough to me, but it's in the sun. Anything else can take 6 hours of walking, so I'm going to go for a 4-hour walk instead.
You know, it's a mistake I think a lot of pilots make when they come to Nepal, is not to hire a porter to carry their gear. It's something that's totally normal for Nepalese to do, is to hire porters to carry their own stuff around. It's a job. It's the oldest job in Nepal, and it's been there for centuries before tourists came, and it's going to be there for centuries more. And plus, you've got a guide, you've got somebody to talk to and to show you the way. You know, but it gets you into people's houses. You know, conversations. You're definitely more involved, and most importantly, you're giving work to somebody. You're giving valuable rupees to a household that needs it. So why wouldn't you do it?
2 paraglider pilots 2 years ago took off from up here, so it's looking likely. So my guide is pretty keen to sort of get me to the same location, which should be quite good. So all being well, we should find a good launch spot.
Thank you! Despite all the efforts to get to takeoff, the help from the porter and the locals on launch, and whilst it was wonderful to see their excitement when I took off, still the day wasn't working, and I just glided back down to the valley floor.
Fucked up.
This is the first food I have eaten for 2 days. It's perfect for my stomach. English pasta bolognese outdoor meal. Thank you, Trekit. I'm knackered. If I look old, it's because I'm knackered. I'm waiting for a forecast back from Ali to sort of give me a heads up on the weather tomorrow. Totally off grid now, there's no signal here. Relying on the Garmin to get any messages out, which is cool. So all's good at the moment. The main thing is I'm better, I think. I ain't got the shits anymore, which will mean that it's an easier sleep tonight. Attempt to have a quick dip in the morning if there's no one around. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this while it's still warm. So this is where I stayed last night. It's the old shepherd's hut, which is only used occasionally, I think. Perfect location, nice and level. Walked up here last night with 2,500 meters, just about. And the challenge this morning is to exit this valley I was hoping that there's going to be enough cloud height to get out of here. It looks like a good morning so far. So got 2 ishy days and then 2 bad days, and then we really are running out of time to get to Pokhara. The one thing I love about Nepal is you look at a hill and you think, how am I going to get for that forest? I'm sure I will be able to. And then discover a road. It's amazing. This is like a motorway to what I thought I'd be having. It's brilliant. This is just amazing. Not saying it's going to get me to where I want to take off, but it's a damn sight easier than actually I spoke too soon. It's not a road. It was a road. Landslide. I'll get round it. So the plan is to go down this valley. I'm just hoping we can get out before the clouds close it off.
What we're looking for is a nice cumulus cloud, which is a fluffy cloud which looks like a sort of gentle cauliflower. But the cloud, if it starts to get tall, like Marge Simpson's hairdo, then if it's taller than it's wide, it's often breaking through stable layers and becoming unstable. Therefore, its own moisture and energy keeps going. And that forms big clouds, which turn into cumulonimbs, which can suck you up very quickly and be potentially very, very dangerous for you. You've got to read clouds and make sure you're not going to go under or into or close to any cloud that's massive, because you have, not only do you have the suck from the big clouds, you also have cool air descending, and that creates gust front.
It's okay, I'm on my feet. That's why that stopped me.
So in valleys and things like that, you have cold air gust fronts are really quite bad.
Yeah, that was full on. Yeah, it's just gone so unstable, and I thought I'd better get down before the valley wind just kicks in to being too strong, which it was quite strong, but I want to get through there and I can't. No way. It's now about an hour since I landed and it's raining. Hi sheep. So I was right to think I wouldn't get out of this gorge on a wing, so now I'm walking. I've only got about 5k to go to get to the top. Good road, apparently. There's no buses because the top is blocked because of snow. So great. So yeah, we're pretty. Gosh.
I think when you look at Tosh's expedition on paper, you have this joy of travelling solo and not having to compromise or mediate with anybody else, but actually you really feel that takes its toll as well. It's physical in the sense that Tosh couldn't share any of the labours of finding water or carrying bags. It's also emotional because whenever Tosh landed, he was met by these incredible outpourings of love and curiosity from the people he met. But that also requires a lot from you to give back and interact. It takes it out of you. And if you had somebody else to share that load, then that would make it easier. And finally, there's the burden of decision making, that if you are on your own, every single decision, big or small, falls on you, and that becomes very fatiguing over time. And when you combine that with things like altitude, dehydration, low nutrition, flying, all the huge volume of climbing that Tosh was doing just to get up to take off all the time, this together makes for a very exhausting proposition.
About 2,850 metres now, past at 3.2, so yeah, this road still carries on up, fortunately. Oh, I am feeling bushed, but
I promised myself some noodles when I get to the top, so I'm looking forward to those.
And it's one of the reasons why you see this attrition through the course of the journey on Tosh, mentally and physically.
So they were right. The road is closed because of snow. And there's more falling.
I eventually made it to the pass before nightfall. I took the opportunity to stay in one of the 2 tin huts on the side of the road, where I was invited to join a group of local workers for some game stew and warmth from their smoky fire. The overnight temperature is well below freezing, so I'm grateful for the shelter of the hut. My plan is to leave early in the morning and continue up the mountain to find a location to take off and fly into the Eastern Valley.
Oh, so frustrating. Climbed up to the takeoff location, which I think is perfect really, except the weather's just changed. You've got this cloud that's just formed out in the front. Trying to join up with another cloud over there. It's blowing quite strong just on the top here, but I think that's manageable. It's the same problem I had yesterday trying to get out of here. As you can see behind, it's actually quite nice. In a way, it's protected. All these front mountains have got the clouds on them, including this one, and at the moment that does not look like I want to be taking off. And in a minute I could be in clouds, so it's 9:30. It's not late, it's quite early really, so I just have to wait and see. I feel defeated. It's now 12:15. I've been here since 9:30 trying to take off. I've got the low cloud initially, and now it's just cooking. I can't. It's blowing an absolute hoolie. My route down the valley is one massive cloud, bookend by another massive cloud at the other end. It's just blowing again. I've been trying for ages up there. I've just been trying for ages up there. I've just come down here to try, but it's no better. What to do? Just feel complete beaten. Absolutely beaten. It's not a flyable day, I'm afraid. Beaten by the weather. Again.
I'm contemplating what to do. Every day seems to be a race to fly a few kilometres before the clouds develop into towering cunims. I have to land early ahead of it being too risky to continue in the air. I'm spending most of my day walking. I feel totally exhausted, deflated, and undecided on what to do. Maybe, if I had embarked on this adventure with a buddy, it would be easy to keep going. My progress is constantly being set back by the weather. It seems an impossibility to cover the distance to Pokhara with a paraglider in the time I have left. And so I need to face the reality. I'm not going to make it. I'll have to pull out and get a jeep out of here.
So I've got a lift with someone who's just bought a ram. Stick it into the jeep now. Quite random. I think he's a sheep trader or something.
Could this be one last chance? The weather this morning was different to last night's predictions. There is some high cloud about. Maybe this time it'll be enough to prevent the heat from the sun causing the day to overdevelop and start raining. Maybe I have one last chance to finish this.
We're 30 kilometres from Pokhara. I am so knackered, but I can't be this close to not fly in, so I'm desperately trying to find a takeoff. Stayed in Bandung last night, and sort of first thoughts was to get a bus, but the weather is okay. There's a lot of high cloud and some queue forming underneath it, so we could be okay. I can nearly see Pokhara from here. I can't just get a bus in the last bit. I suppose I could walk it the whole lot, like I am at the moment. So it's hoping I can find a launch. The field down here, I've just walked to the top of this hill, now I'm walking back down the other side, because the wind's on this side, the sun's on that side. Really don't want to walk back up here. Okay, let's go and find a field. And into wind is Pokhara, so I reckon it's just about through there. It's Pokhara. This is hard work. Just want to get back now. Why is the wind in that direction? Last takeoff now. Okay, goodbye. Okay, so this is officially my last flight. I'm trying to get back to Pokhara. Just left Mackintosh, and yes, I'm not sure how far to go, but probably about 20k in a minute. Just got a mountain to cross, and then we're in the valley. Hey! Got a bit of a headwind here, which is not helping, but we'll see. It will be what it is today, in a funny way. I'd just be happy to get to Pokhara, so ecstatic to get to Pokhara. My only concern is this cloud in front. Woohoo! A different valley. That's great. Made it to Pokhara. Yeah. Finally. This is it. I'm so happy. So happy. We did it! We did it! Yes. Oh my god. Just done it. I've just crossed Nepal. Hi. Whoa.
I spent a lot of time researching this adventure, and it all turned out to be a complete waste of time. In the end, weather dictated the route itself, and all that was left of my plan was to fly east. My vision of soaring like a vulture high above the Himalayas and camping totally alone in a tiny tent just melted away. But I'm not the least bit disappointed, because instead I got to experience something just as magical: the warmth, love and generosity of the Nepali people.